Welcome, everybody, back to the No Huddle, no timeouts, no excuses, no hiding from the truth. So we're breaking down a few things that went on in the NFL this week. Again, not just necessarily Raiders. Welcome to everybody that's here. We're going to cover a lot of things in the NFL that went on in the past week. Who's rising, who's falling, what teams got better, what teams look like dark horses going into the start of this, with the season, the draft and everything. So we're going to cover as much as we can about the NFL itself, not necessarily the Raiders. I know a lot of the guys in the chat are from the Raiders fans, but we're going to try and open our horizons and let's start looking at other things in the league too, because it's not just the Raiders out there. There's multiple teams in this league. Obviously, there's 31 other teams, so we're going to show the love and talk about other teams too while we're at it. So we're going to cover some of the moves that have been made in the last week. Because last week I went over stuff that happened the week prior. And we'll hit some of the major headlines, too, that kind of spark some interest for some folks, too. The phone lines are not open yet, so do not try and call in. But if you want to call in and leave a voicemail, by all means, go for it. You're more than welcome to. All right. So let's see. We got Raider Paul in the house. What's up, Paul? What's going on? Jack's here. What's up, Raider Nation? Rest in peace. Yes. Rest in peace to one of our long line of great centers, Barrett Robbins. It was unfortunate what happened to him the night before the Super Bowl. It kind of went off the deep end and had some issues, unfortunately. But, I mean, in his own right, he was one hell of a center for us. He was one hell of a football player while he was there. It's sad because after that, his life was never really the same between his mental health issues, other things off the field, obviously. And, he lived a troubled life until recently. So unfortunately, he's passed away. So passed in his sleep is from what I saw was I don't think they've determined a cause or anything at this time. But yes, rest in peace to Barrett Robbins. Rosetown's in the house. What's up, Rosetown? How are we doing tonight? So what we're going to cover first is, where is it? Is there a power shift in the NFL right now? Does it seem like there's a power shift going on? Meaning teams that were at the top and now starting to drop, or teams that were at the bottom starting to rise a little bit? I think we're seeing that within our own organization, possibly. Ja Raider, what's going on, man? Let's see what he says here. Alberto Sports, SF via Raiders have received multiple calls for number one pick. Raiders aren't taking any calls until draft day. Interesting. Well, we'll have to wait and see. The downside is, unless I'm listening live to something, I'm not going to know what's exactly going on because I'm going to physically be there. So I don't know how I'm going to be able to hear what's going on in the moment. Plus, I'm probably going to be live through most of it. So it's going to be tough for me to follow everything. Unless I'm with 805 and them and they get the updates while I'm live and such. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. Marcus Banks is in the house. What's up, Marcus? How we doing, brother? So a power shift in the NFL. It definitely seems like there's some teams that have stepped up, some teams that are falling back a little bit. So with that power shift, obviously the Raiders are falling into that power shift. They're part of that positive power shift. We've added Tyler Linderbaum, the top rated free agent this offseason. So that was a big move. It was a bonus for us. We really hit the mark with that one, and it was a great thing for us. It automatically boosted our offensive line. Would have boosted any offensive team's line. Like I said before, I didn't think we were going to have the shot of getting him as soon as the Patriots traded their center away to Chicago. I thought, all right, well, they're going to be in it, and we're going to have to fight with them for him. But we didn't. Thank God. Because if we didn't have him, this draft would look, I think, completely different. Like our draft strategy would probably be a little bit different if we couldn't nail a center. Because that would mean either JPJ gets moved back to center, or we got to look for one in the draft and looking for the one in the draft early, and rather than later. What did you say? It came from Tom Pelissaro. If true, I'm okay to take calls during the draft. Right? Yeah. And it comes from Tom. I trust Tom Pelissaro, to be honest with you. Any of those guys from NFL Network, like Rap Sheet, Tom Pelissaro, those guys, they're good. They're good. I trust them. I trust them a lot more. I don't trust Schefter. He doesn't like us anyway. He always hated the Raiders. But other teams that have made a power shift, did the Ravens really make a power shift? By, yes, they attempted to get Max Crosby in there, which would have really upped their defense more than likely. But I don't know if they necessarily made a power shift, because I think the fact with them losing Linderbaum, but instead of ending up with Max, they end up with Trey Hendrickson, but they keep their first round picks. So that has an impact for them, where they can still do something and still maybe make a power shift on this. If they can move that pick, I mean, that's another thing, another option for them, you know. Um, did the Jets make a power shift? I know it sounds weird saying the Jets, but right away when everybody thinks the Jets, especially coming from a Raider fan, you're looking at, they got Geno Smith, and with, we think automatically Jets, Geno Smith, now they're going to suck. But they kind of made some other moves too. They brought in Minka Fitzpatrick as a safety. Yes, they're a little bit older, these guys, but they're that leadership that team probably needed more than anything. They brought in Demario Davis, another linebacker for them. So are the Jets making a power move in that division? It's possible. Who knows? Are the Patriots really as good as they were, as their record held, and the fact that they made it to the Super Bowl, but they didn't look that good in the Super Bowl at all on both sides of the ball? So that still remains to be seen. That AFC East could still be up for grabs, so that's a very good possibility. So the league's definitely shifting, through the roster construction, basically, with what's happened in free agency. So we'll see what happens once the season gets going. So let's see. Let's check the chat here. Justin, Ravens should be 31 ranked. I hate them. I do too. The worst part is, if they stink next year, that first round pick is going to be even better, which would really suck, the fact that we didn't get to keep the 2 first rounders. This year we already knew it was a 14th, but we didn't know what we were going to have for next year. So if they're not good this year, they could have the 14th pick again next year, or even higher, closer to the number 1. What's up, Eric? How you doing, brother? I trust Rappaport and Schefter. Rappaport, yeah. Schefter, he does not like us at all. He does not like the Raiders. So the true state of the NFL. Before we get into that, though, I'm going to ask you guys in the chat, who do you think in that power shift? Who do you think actually stepped up, or who's made a change in their team with their roster and free agency to make kind of like a power move? Like they've done better. They're part of that power shift. Is it just the teams I mentioned, or do you think there's other teams that kind of made a power shift that we're just not talking about yet? Even in our own division, are there teams in our own division that made a, that possibly put them into that power shift mode? That's one of the questions that, I want to put out there is, what do you think? Who else did that? See, Eric says, no, definitely not the teams you mentioned. You don't think the teams I mentioned made a power move, a power shift? I mean, the Jets definitely added, because that's not all they added. I mean, they added, veteran, like I said, not them. The Patriots added stuff too. Let's see. Yeah, they got Romeo Dobbs. They added. They got Draymond Jones, Kevin Bard, whatever. See, Linderbaum, Walker, Dean, keeping Max made us, and that's just it. And that's why we're definitely part of that power shift. I think, the interesting part's going to see what we do in our own division. What we do against the AFC West. How that's going to be our true measuring stick this season, as to how good we are within our own division. Last year we scraped out and we got 1 win. We didn't get shut out, thank God. The interesting part, we'll see if can we capitalize on that. Can we get more than just the 1 win in our division? Can we beat some of these other teams? Can we beat the Chargers? Can especially in LA? We haven't done that yet. Can we beat the Chargers in LA? Can we beat the Broncos? See, Marcus says Tennessee definitely made this year work for them. I think they did too. I really do. I think they made some smart moves. I think their biggest move, in all honesty, is the coaching. I think what Tennessee did with their coaching is top notch compared to where they were. I think they can only go up from here. You know, I mean, again, we thought the same with our own team last year, and that definitely didn't happen. Um, so if you had to pick right now, who would you say is winning this offseason? Come on, chat. Give me some feedback on this. Who do you think's like winning this offseason right now? If you had to put a finger on the pulse of who's winning in the offseason. I know it's all paper and everything. Who do you think's really done it? So Eric says Rams. All right. All right, you don't have to spam. Bot will end up kicking you if you keep spamming. So not me. It's not me doing it. Yeah, I could see the Rams. I definitely could. I could see that. I don't disagree with that move, with you picking them. Um, how the whole Puka Nakua thing is going to play out, who knows? That could work against them big time. Let's see. Ardell says Chargers. Yeah, no, definitely Mike McDaniel's going in. I think that was huge for them. Absolutely huge. No two ways about that. Eric says they got 2 corners there. Yep. Yeah, Mike McDaniel's going over there. And, we're going to get to this from Quirk. I do have them listed on here, too, that I do want to mention some things about them because I think they got sneakily good, and especially in a weak division. So they've really got a chance to do some damage in the NFC South for sure. So we'll see what happens in that division because that division's a mess. Right now, Tampa's still the top team pretty much in that division. Let's see. Rosetown Broncos bringing in Waddle. True. That's not a bad move for them either. I mean, so they're shifting within our own division. One of the things we're gonna cover, like basically, I'm looking at like the state of the NFL here too. So if we look at what's been added to some of these other teams. So again, the Patriots, they added Romeo Doubs. Let me switch this up first here. Boom. So we're going to cover the state of the NFL. So Patriots added Romeo Doubs. Like I said, Draymond Jones, Kevin Baird. The Bills added Austin Corbett, offensive line. Lloyd Kujanberry, the center. So they rebuilt their trenches a little bit. And then they brought in Trent Sherryfield, the wide receiver. So they added some other additional pieces for them, too. So Buffalo kind of might have reloaded a little bit. Now, Ardell, Cowgirls made a few good moves. They have, and I don't think they're done yet either. I'm going to cover something else in a little bit. Maybe save it for tomorrow night when we actually talk all Raiders. But I still think there's a Dallas Raiders connection with Max still. I think that still might be a possibility. I'm not walking away from that one just yet. I think that may still happen, but we'll see. And actually, I think the biggest one in our division, really, in all honesty, is the Chiefs. As far as re-signings go, the Chiefs re-signing Kelsey. Initially to a 1 year, but I guess now he's committing to a 3-year contract with them. So by him coming back, man, I God, I can't stand Kelsey. So that, gives them that option back still. And with what they've got now for a running game, they're still going to be looking for defense, but getting to the Panthers, they added Rasheed Walker, offensive line. They bring in Jalen Phillips, edge. Devin Lloyd comes over from Jacksonville to Carolina, so with Querick saying, I don't know if I'm even pronouncing your name right. I'm sorry, Bella. The Panthers, like I said, they could be sneaky in that division. They've brought in depth. They brought in some top players. Eagles, Cam Jurgens, he's recovering from injury, or he's recovering from that back injury. So how does that affect them too? So, I mean, it's interesting to see what's going to happen. So right now I am going to open up the phone lines. But just real quick, before anybody calls, just try and keep it to like give you a take on what you want to talk about, and try and keep it within about 2 to 5 minutes tops. Because once I open the phone lines, if we start getting calls, I need to move along. We need to keep this, I can't have somebody staying on the phone for like 15, 20 minutes. So we need to kind of keep this moving well, once we get going here with the phone lines. So the phone line is open. There it is right there. 401-830-9189. So by all means, feel free to call in. You said it right. Q works. Thank you. Okay, we'll go with that. We'll just call you Q. Casey re-signed Kelsey. Wow, I thought for sure he was going. Now they initially re-signed him last week to a 1-year contract, but I guess they're going to rework it now. It looks like he's going to be there for the next 3 years, or for 3 additional years. So 2 additional years. So yeah, 3 years in total. So I don't know what his contract looks like. I don't know if there's an escape clause for them where they can get out of it. I haven't even looked into that. I don't really care. I just don't like him. I just want him to go away. Because as you all know, we don't have a good history against Kelsey. We don't have good history against any tight ends, really. And I'm kind of hoping that changes this year with the linebacking core that we've got in here. So we'll get into a little bit of draft talk as far as what everybody thinks. Yeah, 3 years was to spread the money out. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be. You know what? Let me look it up. Let me see. I'm curious now. So if we go tight ends, let's see. So that would be 2029. Travis Kelce. Here he is. All right. God damn, how old is he now? He'll be all right. He's 37 now. He'll be 39 when his contract ends. Okay, so he signed through 2026. His dead cap is 10 mil this year. His cap hit is 4.8. So if they let him go, it's a 10 mil cap. Looks like they can void his contract in 27 and in 28. Huh. All right. So they got him for 3 years, but let's see. He signed a 1-year for 12-year contract for the Chiefs, including $12 million guaranteed and an average annual salary of $12 million. In 26, Kelsey will earn a base salary of 1.3 and a restructured bonus of 10.6 mil, while cap hit of 4.8 and a dead cap of 10.6. Yeah, so basically the 27 and 28 season, they're void. They can void and walk away. So that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Let's see. What's up? What's up, Detroit guy? What's going on? What's up, Bueno? How we doing? Let's see here. So let's again, phone lines open 401-830-9189. So with the state with the state of the NFL, I mean, the big thing I think is let's go back to the Raiders-Raven thing. What type of ripple effect is this going to have going forward? Because it already had a ripple effect prior to, because there were other teams that wanted Max, that wanted, to trade for him, but obviously all that went by the wayside as soon as we agreed to trade him to Baltimore. So those other teams moved on and they went and looked other directions. But it's funny how none of them looked towards, instead of trading, bringing in Trey Hendrickson. So these teams that wanted to trade for him didn't get the opportunity. The Ravens had him. Then they go and make their other moves. They commit to contracts with other players. And then comes that Monday night or Tuesday night, the Ravens balk on it. They ship him back to Vegas. Now, it does send a ripple effect through the NFL because those other teams that wanted Max, like let's say Dallas Cowboys, they really were interested in doing something. Now they can't. They've already moved on. They went a different direction. A lot of teams that wanted Max or wanted to be part of that went a different direction. So that causes that ripple effect where now they have to, if there's still anybody's still interested in Max, you're not going to get the same value for him. You're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a lesser value. Is it still a first round pick? It should be at least a minimum of a first. Will it be 2? I don't know at this point. I don't know. Did the damage be done? Was the damage done when Baltimore said, they're reneging because of his injury? Does that taint the deal because of the reports that they put out? But then again, how truthful are those reports? Were they honest with everything? The downside is Max is a victim in all this, in all honesty. And I feel bad for him in this as that goes, because he had his hot set on going there. He was ready. He was locked in. He was ready to go. And then the rug gets pulled out from under him, no fault of his own. He did nothing wrong in this. And now he's coming back here. He's coming back to a completely different defense, but there's still talk that it may still happen. And again, if it does, it does. People can't get upset. If it happens, it's for the better of the team. That's how you have to look at this. Whatever we do going forward, no matter what it is, whether we trade him away or not, whatever we do with that first round pick, if we keep it or let it or trade it away, it's what's going to be better for the team is the whole mindset everybody has to be in. So again, there's still no saying that, the him possibly being traded is out the window. It's still a possibility, so don't be surprised if it happens. Let's see. Let's check back in with the chat here. Gunsmoke, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? John says we should have taken Cowboys picks 12 and second next year. I agree too. We should have. At least, in all honesty, I think Dallas would have been fair. I don't think you would have seen them do what Baltimore did. That was some shady shit. I'm sorry. See, Cowboys might give us a 12th pick. That's it. Eric doesn't think so. I don't change my premium price. I let Max try out for the NFL. This draft ain't the draft to push and all the chips maybe next year either. I get you. I definitely get you. So, I mean, I don't want to talk a lot of Raiders stuff tonight. I mean, I know everybody in here is pretty much Raiders fans tonight. I kind of wanted to cover more of like NFL, which is the whole point of this Friday night show. It's to discuss more NFL-based stuff, to cover all 32 teams, not just specifically Raiders. Now, that's why Saturday night, Jason and I from Raiders First Downs, we do the Saturday night Raider Nation Voices, where we cover strictly Raiders, and that's all it is. We'll talk Raiders and strictly Raiders football on Saturday nights. So, oh no, I know you are. A lot of people are fans of just the NFL in general. They may have a favorite team, but like me, I'm a diehard Raiders fan. But I enjoy the NFL, and I enjoy learning about other teams, and that's how you learn about other players, and that's how you get that desire to want to see some of these other players that you might think that our team could be interested in. So that's how you get to learn some of these guys. And I think with me too is doing fantasy football. That just applies to even more when it comes to football. So we've got a caller coming in. You're on No Huddle. State your name and the team you rep.
What's up, Jeff? It's your old pal Kenneth here.
Kenneth, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm all right, man. Hey, I've been hearing on ESPN.com that there's a Florida AG that's challenging the NFL to abolish that Rooney Rule.
Really?
Yeah, it's on the ESPN's website on the NFL side of things. I have the article right here.
Oh, yeah, I got it up right now. Yep, Florida Attorney General says NFL must get rid of Rooney Rule. Huh.
Yeah,
Florida's attorney. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I just happened to see it now. I thought I'd let you in on it.
Yeah, I'm glad you say. I hadn't even checked anything. I didn't even look at ESPN today.
Yeah, I just happened to see it just within like the last few minutes, right before I called in.
Oh wow!
And
yeah,
I want to give my condolences. I don't know if you heard, but former Raiders center Barrett Robbins died.
Yeah, we knew that. I started the show off talking about that. He was. You know what? I know people will only look at or a lot of fans will think of just what happened that night before the Super Bowl and what how that happened, how that turned out. But prior to that, he was one hell of a center, man. He was part of that long line of, traditional, really good to great centers for the Raiders through the years. So I mean, unfortunately, like I said, a lot of people will always look back at that day and think that he wasn't that. He was a damn good center. He played a little bit longer after that. I think maybe 1 or 2 seasons, but it was never the same after that. I mean, and he
Yeah.
lived a troubled life from that point on. He run-ins with the law and all kinds of different things. So yeah, I mean, it kind of it sucks the way it happened, but he's still a human, and he still was a former Raider.
Said here, according to the article I'm reading, he played from 95 to 03.
Yeah. So yeah, it sucks, but yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that, man.
I know you being a Raider fan, and I figured I didn't know if you had mentioned this. I just wanted to pass along my condolences.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that in Raider Nation. Thank you. From a Houston Texans.
Even though I'm a Texans guy, I just figured I seen this, and I was like, hey, I better at least call in and give my condolences.
All right. Well, again, we appreciate that, man, and thanks for calling in, man.
All right, dude.
All right, you take care. Thank you. That was Kenneth. See him in the chat every now and then, and he's a Texas, Houston Texans fan. So he usually calls in every Friday night, talk about the Texans or whatever the big news is. And thanks for that, because I didn't even know about the whole Rooney Rule thing. So that's kind of interesting. What's up, Steve? I see you there, brother. Ayo, what's going on, man? How you doing? Let's see. Yeah, so I'll just hit some high points on this. So Florida's Attorney General is challenging the Rooney Rule and calling on the NFL to suspend it or face possible civil rights actions. He sent a letter to Commissioner Goodell on Wednesday to express concern that the Rooney Rule, which requires teams to interview external minority candidates for specific positions, it's blatant race and sex discrimination, and that hiring decisions should be based on merit only. So my short take on this, he's just trying to equate this as a DEI type thing is what it probably comes down to, is my take. Because I know a lot of places are doing away with the whole DEI stuff. And that's probably his stance on this, which I get that from when he says by the merit thing, instead of, being forced to, interview minorities and such. I get that, but hey, you know what it is? It is what it is. If the guy's qualified, they'll hire him. And I mean, we've seen it through the years. And I know a lot of people were upset this year because there weren't a lot of minorities hired in some positions this season. I mean, I'm not getting into that. That's a political, racial. No, I'm not touching that. But it's interesting that somebody's actually going to try and challenge that rule. I'm kind of shocked that somebody's trying that. Keep an eye on that. See how that turns out. See what comes of it. I don't think anything's going to come of it. I mean, Florida can complain all they want about it, but I mean, I don't know if they could just block it in Florida itself. I don't know. That's weird. But anyway, getting back to the power shift, or not the power shift, the state of the NFL power shift. I guess it's all kind of part of this whole thing. So I'm going to give you some list of some teams that I think are winners in what's happened so far with this power shift that's going on as part of this whole state of the NFL right now. And I want you guys to, if you want to call in and give me your answer, that's fine. The phone number is scrolling across the top. It's 401-830-9189. Call in. Again, no information's released on the screen. You can't even see that they're calling. You might hear the phone ring, but that's it. So what I'm going to ask is, who do you think the winners are so far with what's happened since the start of free agency to now, as of today's date, 3/27/2026? I've got 4 teams I'm going to list, and I want to see which one of these 4 you think and don't be biased. Take the Raider hat off and look at it from a true standpoint of a fan of the sport itself. All right. So the winners that I have listed, I do have the Raiders on here, the Jets, the Bills, and the Ravens. Which one of those four do you see? Do you agree that those four are winners so far, or do you think that they're not? And then we're going to also list who we think took a step back. But right now, we're going to look at who you think is possibly a winner out of those. You want to add a team to it? Go ahead, add a team to it. If you think it's someone else, I just picked four that I know made some moves. So I'm curious to see what you guys think, what the chat's interested in. So throw it out there. You want to call, whatever. So Eric says Jets, no. Bills lost defensive players. They did. You're absolutely right. But I think with the Bills, they addressed what they needed to, and it was the offensive line. So they kind of rebuilt their trenches a little bit. So that makes a big difference with that, especially when you got a running back of the style of Cook back there, and you got a commodity in the sense of, Josh Allen. You got to keep him, you got to keep him upright. He stays upright, you got a good chance of going far in the league, in the playoffs, especially, So, I mean, defense, they could do some damage in this draft and bring somebody in too, with a draftee. So that's a possibility. That might be why they were willing to take the little bit of a hit on defense, But in all honesty, what did they really lose? I mean, yes, they traded one of their corners to us, but I still think they can make some changes, Let's see. The Q says the Jets are set up for the future, but they might be looking for a coach. And I believe that. I'm surprised. Well, I guess they give them a 1 year bye, basically, which any team should with their new head coach. Especially if it's a first-time head coach. Oh, no, was Aaron Glenn a coach? No, he wasn't. Especially if it's a first-time head coach. Like Kubiak, I'm sorry. Unless he goes out and murders somebody, he gets a free pass this year no matter what we do, But when you bring a guy in like last year, Pete Carroll comes in with all this past experience and knowledge and his history and everything, you're brought in to perform, and you don't put it on don't sit here and say, I come here to win games, and then you only put up 3 wins. And some of those wins were not good. And some of those losses were shutouts, and we just looked god awful. Don't come in here and say, I'm here to win games. You can't even win more than 3 games. I mean, the guy that had never been a head coach before, Bailey was even in the coaching ranks for much of his career, won 4 games the year before him. I mean, come on. The guy went from a position coach to an interim head coach to the head coach and got 4 wins. You come in as a past college football championship coach, an NFL Super Bowl winning coach. You come in with all this, you come in with all this knowledge and experience, and you just shit the bed. I mean, you don't get a free pass. I'm sorry. And that's why he was let go. And it was the right thing to do. So again, Kubiak, as far as I'm concerned, he gets a free pass. And with Swiatek doing his job this year, man, this team's looking good so far. With what we've brought in, if everything pans out, I think we're going to be okay. Yeah, Tennessee too. I agree. Tennessee is definitely, I think Tennessee is definitely a winner. They've made the right moves. And I'll tell you what, they're in a perfect spot in this draft too. So Marcus, you're going to be happy about this, because I really think you guys are going to end up with Love from Notre Dame. And if you get that guy, I think he's better than Genty, to be honest with you. If him and Genty were in the same draft together, Genty's not the first pick as far as running backs go. It's him, for sure. So, I mean, you guys get Jeremiah Love, with the coaching you guys have there now, Dayball's going to love that. He is absolutely going to love having him. So that team's going to be, you're going to be pretty good. You're going to be lethal, I think, Let me see here. Let me look at the chat. Eric says, I think Denver made a splash. I think they did too, actually, to be honest with you. Their defense stayed the same. but they did help out their offense, and that was their big need was beefing up that offense. You know, you got Cortland Sutton, then they bring in Waddle too. Did I think they give a little too much up for Waddle? I think so. I- do I think he was worth the first round pick? I don't know, man. I'm not sure on that. I think that was kind of a high price for him, but whatever. It is what it is. That's what they did. Um, let's see. Detroit guy said Glenn was a great coach for Detroit Lions, and unfortunately, his first head coaching job has to be over. There with the Jets, he has surely missed here. Oh, I'm sure he's missed in Detroit. You know, when he was, I mean, you think about it, and I'll tell you what, and another team that suffered from all these moves too is Detroit. You know, you got to replace, you go from being to the point of you're a major contender, you know, with the chance of possibly, you know, playing for a Super Bowl and such. And then you lose your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator. One goes to Chicago within your own division, and they end up whooping your ass. You know, they end up winning the division, you know, and then you see, then you see Glenn go to the Jets, who inherited a shit bum team. In all honesty, I mean, the Jets are just awful. And they're stuck in the mud again still. You know, yeah, they brought in some veteran leadership, so maybe that helps change things there. Who knows? Remains to be seen. They've got an early pick. You know, do they stick with it? Do they move? What do they do? I mean, they've got 2 first round picks themselves, so there's a lot they can do. So there's no reason why they can't get better from what they've got available to draft in this draft, without a doubt. But again, we'll see. The Jets still will do Jet things, unfortunately. But I think if they have another year like last year, Glenn's gone. He's gone. And then where does he go? You know, does Detroit call him back, or does he just go somewhere else? I mean, I don't know at this point. Let's see. How should Malik Willis feel about the new look Dolphins? Good question. I don't know. I think the Dolphins still have talent, but a lot of the talent's left. I mean, Tyreek's gone. Um, Tua is gone now. Tua goes to Atlanta. Does that make a difference with Atlanta? I don't think so, because I would want Tua. He's too, his concussions scare me, because those aren't just small little normal little. I mean, these are major concussions he's had. I mean, where he was down and out cold on those concussions. I think he's severely damaged goods now at this point. Let's see. Waddle is a beast. Yeah, and they're running back. We had to replace the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. Yeah. No, the Jets don't do any favors for their head coaches. Period. You know, that's usually one of the most least desirable jobs to get if the head coaching job's available. Seriously, because how long are you going to be there for? I mean, Robert Saleh, in all honesty, was the best coach they've had in a long time, and they just didn't help him. They didn't do him any favors. You know, that's why I don't have a problem with Saleh being a head coach. It just happened to be that he was with the Jets, and the Jets didn't do shit to help him and support him and help that team grow. I mean, they brought him in talent and such. Like, you look at the, you know, Brees Hall, you know, he had Sauce Gardner in there, Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver. I mean, he had talent, but he just never had a true quarterback. That was the number one problem right there, you know. And then the whole Aaron Rodgers, and then we bring in this guy, that guy, and now they're going back to Geno Smith. What do they do for quarterback this year? You know, is Geno the starter? They're going to bring a rookie in. Jets are in such disarray. I don't envy anybody on that team at all. And we get to play them this year in New York. I can't wait for that one. Let's see. What did Matt say? The Jets ownership is the problem. It starts at that. Absolutely. And that's pretty much, you said it at the same time I did. So, yeah, that's it exactly. How can you trust the Dolphins? All of that talent that they had, they squandered it away and absolutely got nothing for it. And they did too. You know, Waller's not going to play anymore. He's probably done now for good. Yeah, Waller's gone. Dolphins messed up by hiring that. What's up, Matt Morris? What's going on, man? Dolphins messed up by hiring that coach that they had. He should have never gotten that coaching job. He was not fit for that job. See, Mike McDaniel's a good coach. He wasn't bad there. I thought he was fine. It's just I mean, first of all, you're in the AFC East, so you've got. Granted, the Patriots weren't at the best at that point, but Buffalo was still there. Buffalo was probably your biggest problem. Um, I mean, his first couple of years there looked really good. You know, they were moving. I mean, that was one of the fastest teams out there. You know, between A Chain and Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I mean, Jesus Christ, the speed. Mostert when he was still there too. I mean, the team was damn good. And then guys start leaving. Guys get two were getting injured, hurt. You know, because now they're going to backup quarterbacks and trying to complete the season with with guys that they're backups. You know, so who should take Ty? The Jets? Go for it. What's up, Rorschach? Jeff, brother, work kicked my ass this week, but I'll recoup. I just finished the Spy Tech interview with JT the Brick for the second time, and finally, we got a GM I and we can be proud of. Oh, definitely. That was. I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw little blurbs of it and such, but yeah, that was a good interview. Let's see. So what's up, Rorschach? Well, hopefully you can relax now. The weekend's here and you can enjoy. Don't forget, everyone, the phone lines are open. So 401-830-9189. Again, if you call in, drop your take. Try and keep it to a minimum. Trying to keep it under 5 minutes. Let's see. Oh, let me go back to this. I don't think that he's a leader of men, Jeff. He let the team get away from. True, he did. He did. I think you're going to see a difference. I think he's one of those guys. He's like a Josh McDaniels. Funny, the name's almost the same. He's like a Josh McDaniels. They're good coordinators, really good coordinators, but they're not head coaches. You know, when you're a head coach, there's so much more at stake. You have to be responsible for everything. You know, with him being an offensive coordinator, he's controlling just that offensive side of the ball. You know, so he doesn't have to worry about anything outside of those parameters. You know, when you're the head coach, obviously you got to worry about everything that goes on in that building, every single player. Not to say that the offensive coordinator doesn't worry about all the players on the team. Of course he does. But he doesn't interact with every single player every day. He interacts with his offensive guys. You know, he's got a special relationship with his quarterback. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in LA with the Chargers now, with him there running that show. You know, he's got a running back, he's got a quarterback. As much as we don't like Herbert, I don't think Herbert's that good, to be honest with you. It'll be interesting to see what happens with them. You know, does their offense step up this year? Do they change? You know, do they become a little bit more lethal this year? I don't know. Remains to be seen. It'll be interesting once the draft is over and we can fully evaluate everybody's team, you know, with the full 100-man roster or whatever going into training camp, and see what's there, what each team has. And then once they start practicing and OTAs and you start seeing what's going on with these players and how they're developing across the league, then you can kind of see everything fall in the line. You know, you see where we kind of rank against other teams, you know, based on what they're going to be putting out there as their talent set for their 11 offense and their 11 defense, and give a better idea of what's going on. Never mind, brother. Not much. How are you? I'll be in New York this year for oh, sweet, man. Yeah, that's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. It depends on what time of year, but I'm okay if it's around the holidays, to be honest with you, because going down there for the holidays, New York is such a different city around the holidays. Like, you don't want to be there in the middle of like July, August. Ugh, too goddamn hot. But being in New York City for the holidays, I mean, that adds a whole different aspect to what we can do for activities and events. You know, we're going to have a lot of clubs involved planning that. So once we know the date, I've already got people that I need to contact to start hyping that up. I've got the New England game I got to work on, so I'm going to have to, you know, get going with that once the date comes up. I just hope they're not close to each other, like where they're like a week or two apart, because that's just going to be a lot of work on me. I might not be involved. If they're close together, the Patriots game here and the Jets game, I may not be as heavily involved in the New York one as I would be if they were further apart. Like, if they're multiple weeks distance from each other, then I'll be able to handle one and then move on to the next one. I just hope the Patriots game is first, because I can put all my attention to that one 100%. And then once that's over, I can shift gears and jump in and help out where I need to help out with all the other chapters and clubs that'll be involved, with the New York one, because I've already got ideas on places that we can go and things we can do in New York as, groups of Raider fans coming in for that game. Because I know a lot of people want to come in for that one. A lot of the people that came to Boston last year are already planning on going to New York. So it's going to be interesting. What's up, Randy N? What's going on? Randy, what do you think about I'm going to ask you this now that you're in the chat. I see you, brother. How you been? If you had to pick a team that you think is won like so far to this day in free agency, what team in the NFL do you think has stepped up? And you being a Broncos fan, that's why I'm asking you this. What team do you think in the league right now is stepped up and is kind of like basically just label it as winning in free agency right now with the moves they've made, whether it be bringing in players or letting players go that weren't helping the team? Who would you consider to be a winner right now out of all these teams in the NFL since today? And how much do you love with Waddle being there? I agree, Jeff. It was the same way when the Lions hired Matt Patricia. Oh, God, he was a horrible coach. How many games can the Raiders win next year? Over and under 5.5. I'm not answering that. I'm not putting numbers on the game, on wins or losses. No, Matt Patricia was, again, another great coordinator, horrible head coach. Yeah, see, I don't like Herbert either. I think he's overrated. I don't think he's as good as everybody says he is. I'm sorry. He doesn't leave. I don't label him as an elite quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback. I'm not even close. What's up, Leo? What's going on, brother? Rorschach with the 8-month membership milestone. Thank you, my guy. I'm very proud of you and your channel. Keep it up. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm having a blast, man. I've made so many changes behind the scenes on the way I do things, the way I publish stuff, I guess you could say, and things I've done to boost my confidence a little bit more to, freely like how many Raider fans are actually out there talking like this, like talking about other teams in the NFL, so I'm kind of trying to broaden my horizons to try and pull in a different fan group, on a Friday night rather than just sitting here and rehashing the same Raider stuff over and over. When you sit here and you look at what's going on in the NFL, I've got like 7 or 8 pages of stuff of what's going on in the NFL and just in the last week, talking points on what's going on with teams and who's doing this, who's looking at that. There's so much more going on than just the Raiders, and everybody's always stuck in that little niche that, it's just the Raiders. There's so much more exposure that you can get for doing stuff, outside of the Raider nation, so that's how I'm looking at this. I'm just trying to, like I said, broaden my horizons and expand on what I'm doing, and I'm loving every minute of it. And I think tonight has been a great show so far with everybody's interaction, and I appreciate it 100%. Let's see. What did you say? They want Justin Herbert to be so much like Josh Allen. It's not. No, it's not. We weren't last. We were last. Haven't won much in division. We won't know what we are until we start. Exactly, and I agree with that statement 100%. Until the season starts and we see what type of product. Your preseason's great. Yeah, it gives you a feel, for what the season's going to look like. And I knew the season last year was going to be complete dog poo after watching that first preseason game and how the offensive line played. And I called it right then and there. I said, this team is going to be garbage. This offensive line is not going to be able to do anything. The quarterback's going to get beat up. Genty is not going to be the guy that we need him to be and it's not Genty's fault, all of it anyway, because our offensive line can't do anything. So I'm hoping, I want to see in preseason, game 1, that we come out and we play, like that. If it's the starting 5 that's out there and that's what they're going to put out on the field is the plan for the whole season is those 5, and they look good, I'm going to feel a little bit more confident. I'm going to have a better feeling versus what it was last year. Because last year I was not happy going from preseason to regular season because I knew it wasn't going to be good. We got lucky week 1, plain and simple. Everybody's like, well, we beat the Patriots. Yeah, we did beat the Patriots. We beat the team that went to the Super Bowl. So I hold that over every Patriots fan that I know is, Oh, we made it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, but you still lost to the worst team in the league, us. We still beat you week one, but we got lucky we won that game. There's no two ways about it. That was that the one away, that number one on my list, and it probably won't do much Raiders stuff. That the one away, the number one on my list, and probably won't do much Raiders stuff. Huh? Randy should be ashamed. His team choked against the Pats. Yeah, it's not his fault, though. In all honesty, I'm telling you, Bo Nix plays, that's a different game. Sorry. It's a completely different game. I think Denver wins that. And everybody knows I'm not, well, none of us are Denver fans in here, other than Randy. I think Denver wins that game, hands down, if Bo Nix is playing, because he's a better quarterback than the backup was. The defense is still one of the best in the league, and they were doing damn good. It's just that they didn't have an offense to put the points on the board. That was the problem. That's all, bro. I can't wait it's always a good time on the East Coast family. Yeah, it's going to be a blast, man. The New York trip's going to be awesome. First, Waddle is an upgrade on Denver's wide receiver. Oh, definitely, man. This hurts me, but good job. Aw, Eric. Damon, I like the way that we're moving in this offseason. We're moving with purpose. We're not just signing people, we're signing the right people. I really think this is the year it's going to change. I think so too. I mean, I don't want to say it, but I don't want to say it can't get any worse. You always say that, and then the team says, hold my beer, and I'll show you that we can be worse. So, who else trades in the first round? Not the Raiders. Maybe. We'll see. This year we signed some. Yeah, we did, and we signed some. We you know what is? We didn't go out and just sign the sparkly names, based on what they've done in the past. And we went out and I think we went after warriors. We went after guys that are quiet, that can quietly do the job, that are going to pay off and pay dividends back with what they're going to be able to come and do for this team. And that's what every team hopes, but some teams stretch. They reach for the name, rather than the ability that player still has. Like Adrian Peterson, when he was available, when he was a free agent and everything, he didn't do much after he was gone from the Vikings. He was very mediocre. He wasn't the same, but fans still wanted him on their team because of the name. Yeah, he was great in the past, but you got to look at what the product that he is now that's going to be on the field. If he's not going to help your team, you're paying this guy for what? So we're not out there looking at the flashy players and like, oh, we should get this guy. People still put it out there like, let's go get this guy. Let's go get that guy. If he's not going to help your team, then there's no sense in bringing certain players in if they're not going to help you, and I don't think we did that. We looked at, obviously, the flashy name in this offseason free agency was Linderbaum, but we knew what we were getting with the guy. We were getting one hell of an offensive lineman, a center. And that was one of our biggest needs on that offensive line was a bona fide center. Because as of right now, the last few years, we haven't had a steady center. It's always been, well, this guy works now, so let's put him in there. Well, JPJ, you played it in college. Let's try you at center. Okay, you had a decent year as your rookie. You're playing center. Then comes last year, and Chip Kelly didn't like it, or some sort of backstage or, behind the scenes shit went on that just pushed him away from that, so here we are, we go and we spend a boatload of money and we bring in a bona fide center, and that hopefully can change things. We bring an offensive line coach that can set things right. We're doing, I think, what some teams wish they could do right now with a new head coach, especially a first-time head coach. The way that we're doing this, it feels like we're doing it right. They're doing it the way that some of us have always said in our heads or have said on shows or have said in just, in general, talking to somebody, face to face. This is, what I think we should do. You take that blueprint from a team years ago that figured it out and you build on that. And that's what it feels like right now. We've taken a blueprint from somewhere where I don't know. And we've expanded on it and we've made it our own right now. We're bringing in guys that are going to seriously contribute to this team, So I'm happy so far. This is the best offseason I've felt in a long time. But I'm not going to be too optimistic until I see what happens once we get rolling in the season. What's up, Cool Kev? What's going on, my guy? So Randy N. I like Pittsburgh additions like Pittman Jr., Enrico Dowell. If they add Aaron Rodgers, they will sink in like the Titanic. Dolphins are only unloading mistakes after mistakes. Tyreek was he's definitely overpaid. But I mean, they got the most out of him their first year or two with him there, because the team was competitive, but the last few years they've been horrible. Pittsburgh's an anomaly. First of all, and I think Leo said it in one of the shows, Pittsburgh just doesn't look right without Tomlin there. It's just a weird feeling after all these years of seeing him there. Patriots, I could give a shit who was coaching that team after Belichick. They're still a Patriots and they look like dog shit anyway. I hate them. But with the Steelers, watching McCarthy there instead of Tomlin, it's such a weird team. Leo, I think it was Leo that said it. He's absolutely right. It just feels weird. It's funny, and then you throw back into the mix, here we go again with Aaron Rodgers holding the team hostage, basically, not giving them, a true answer right away as to what he's doing. Is he coming back? Is he done? Does he want to move on to another team? He did it with the Jets. He's doing it now with these guys too. It did it with Green Bay before they might made the decision to move away from him. That's pretty much why they said, you know what, we're done with you. See you later. So are the Steelers better with him? I don't think so. I think he's done. In all honesty, I mean, does he think he can still go on and play? Probably. I'm telling you, I know there was a bunch of teams thrown out there for who might be interested in, Ty Simpson. If he gets past them, like if nobody else prior to the Steelers takes him, I see the Steelers possibly taking him because again, they're a quarterback needy team right now, especially if Rodgers doesn't come back. I don't even know who their backup is right now. I don't even know who's on their roster at this moment. Horrible offensive line we had this year, but Genty still rushed. Exactly. So just think of what we could have done. We had a way below average offensive line. If we had an average offensive line, Genty would have been 1,200-yard rusher, if not more. Easily. He probably would have been the rookie of the year. So that's the other thing. We take the number one running back overall out of the draft last year. Any other team, he'd be the rookie of the year. He would have been. Not any other team, but majority. Probably about 90% of the other teams in the league he would have gone to. He probably would have been the rookie of the year. Just a reminder, folks, don't forget the phone lines are open, 401-830-9189. So if you want to call in, by all means, feel free to call in. Jeff, please read. I tried reading it. It doesn't make sense. I don't know if Leo's drunk or not. I don't know. I couldn't understand it. Thanks. I have plenty of room on the bandwagon in Broncos country. I'm not on the bandwagon. In all honesty, I wanted you guys to beat the Patriots only because I live in New England and I just didn't want to have to deal with their fans. But it still ended just the way I liked it. They lost in the Super Bowl, so I was fine with that. Let's see, Damien, 266 attempts, 3.7 yards per carry isn't bad, especially behind bad offensive line and a horrible quarterback. Yeah, true. Zone blocking scheme. Oh, definitely. Delaney Walker, Dean Walker also, who were flashy. I don't think they were flashy. Because you got to look at it. They're young. That's the thing. They're only 4 years in the league. So, and they come from a pedigree, man. They come from that Georgia school, man. They come from that championship team. I mean, these guys were just unbelievable. They played, and the fact that they're coming here together and being paired up again together on the same defense, that in itself, hopefully that sparks a little bit something too, with them being teammates again makes a big difference. I think that's going to be awesome. Let's see, Spytech made scrap moves last year. I don't even think Spytech made those moves. I'm sorry. That was those moves I think were 100% Pete Carroll's. Yeah, it was definitely Pete Carroll that made those moves, and it shows because if it just with what he did this year, if he would have been able to do it last year, we could have been a different team possibly. We would have had different players. I can tell you that right now, because I don't think you would have seen him go all gung ho for Geno Smith or guys like Kappa. Bringing in, look at what we brought in for the defense and the linebackers. We brought in guys that really they weren't good. They were serviceable. They only looked great because the rest of our defense was just dog poo, So it's like we didn't gain anything with those guys we brought in last year. And look, none of them are coming back, basically. So I think Quiddy's going to ball too, man. I'm psyched for that kid, especially because it's a homegrown kid from Rhode Island. I'm super stoked about him. I wanted him when he came out in the draft a few years ago. So I am so glad that he's here. I am 100% happy that he is with this team right now. So, and again, I think he's the best guy that we've had play opposite of Max since Ngakoue. He might even be better than him, to be honest with you. Who knows at this point? But I just think it was just a perfect matchup having him come in here, and now he gets to play opposite side Max for however long Max is here. And that's it. We brought in guys that know how to play football. People keep signing Aaron Rodgers just for name, and that's just it. And that's one of those guys that it's like, why is he still playing? Let's see. I see the Dolphins vying for the first overall. Oh, God, yeah, Randy. I agree with that because I don't see them going anywhere. I think the Jets are still going to be in that running too. He probably is on one of his darkness retreats. Where's Chris? I don't know. I haven't talked to Chris in a while. I know he still does the shows with Raider Nation Jason, the Tuesday night show. I don't know if they're still doing the weekend one or not. I'm not sure. Seriously, Patriots played the worst Super Bowl in quite a while. Outplayed, outclassed, outmatched. Yeah, they were horrible. They were horrible. They weren't in that game at all. Absolutely not. Let's see, where do you think AJ Brown goes? That's a good question. I honestly don't have a take on that. I really don't. I think he could possibly be. Does he go? Yeah, I mean, Eric's probably saying, yeah. I mean, that might be a possibility. I mean, the Pats brought in. Who did they bring in? They brought in. Well, they did bring in Romeo Dobbs. I don't think did they bring back shoot, what the hell's his name? The barefoot one. The guy used to play for us too. Shoot, I can't remember his name. But anyway, yeah, I mean him going to New England is definitely could be a possibility. I don't want him in the Raiders. Absolutely not. I no. And it's not that his ability. It's just I don't know. I'm not a fan of AJ Brown. You're on you're on No Huddle with Jeff. State your name and the team you're at.
Hey, what's up, man? This is Cheeto Linus.
Hey, what's up, Hobo?
How you doing, man?
Right,
well, you know what my team is. What?
I said, what's up?
Well, you know what my team is. I don't even got to tell you what my team is.
Cardinals. Oh, you like the Cowboys?
Oh, yes, I am a huge Cowboys fan. That's true. If you ever come to my house, it's just like Cowboys gear everywhere. You know what I'm saying? All over the walls and everything. Absolute thing. Yeah, I'm just a Cowboys fanatic. But I don't have a lot to say about other teams tonight, just for the simple fact that I haven't been keeping up with them.
Well, that's what I'm here for.
But I am. I mean, I know the Cardinals. Speaking of them, they continue to make moves that I don't think are the best. Like they took Gardner Minshew, I guess, is going to be their starting quarterback or whatever.
No, they still have Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, but from what I hear, they want to start Gardner.
Either one. I don't really care. It's Arizona. I could give a shit who they play.
Yeah.
No bearing on me whatsoever. Hey, they want the number 1 pick and they can take Mendoza. That's fine. We'll take the number 3 pick overall. Gladly take it. And they're on the number 1. So yeah, that's him, Bueno. He just asked in the chat.
Is he asking if it's a Hubble writer?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the more I think about this upcoming season, the more I've drinking some of the Kool-Aid now, man. And I tried to force myself not to do that, but so many good moves have been made, man, that I just feel like we're just a whole different team on every level this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't wait. Because even the games we lose this year are going to be at least exciting and fun to watch. You know what I'm saying? Because we might not win a lot of games next year, but we're not going to look like a middle school team out there playing against the professionals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Rosetown, don't say that name. If you say it 3 times like Beetlejuice, it'll magically appear. So that's taboo. Should kick you just for his name.
Somebody said the name of your old stalker guy.
Yeah, don't remind me. It's been so nice for months now. Yeah, Matt Collins, that's the name. Thanks, Kev. That's who I was thinking of.
Maybe he's in jail for stalking someone else or something like that.
I don't know. I don't care. I could care less.
But
don't miss them.
The Lions keep bleeding players, so I don't think the Lions are going to be anything next year.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be much of anything next year either.
No, almost every day you hear about one of their star players going to another team lately.
Yeah, Montgomery went to the Texans. I know Kenneth, the kid that calls in all the time, he was excited for that because prior to that, he called in one Friday night. He's like, I don't know what we're going to do for running back. And then a couple days later, boom, Montgomery shows up down there. And then he called back the following week. I said, so how you feeling about your running back now? He goes, I'm happy. I said, I figured you would be.
Well, the Lions just thought his name is escaping me, but the Lions just lost another really good defensive end to the Packers, like either today or yesterday. So they're not competing for even a division title or much less a Super Bowl or anything like that, man. But
do you have that on here?
Jeff, I got to ask you something. Are you still in your 30-point mode for predicting 30 points for the Raiders every game? Because they did cross that threshold last year, I don't think.
No, they never did.
I think the highest number of points
I can't give you that answer I can't give you that answer until the season starts. Then we'll talk about that. So just like I'm not giving. Here's what I'm not doing. Okay, I'm not giving a total win-loss prediction. Okay, I'm not going to predict what I think we're going to score each game. You can't right now anyway. So that's really that's a moot question at this point because we got to wait until the season starts to see what type of offense. Even after, I got to wait until after the first game is what I'm looking at because you don't even know who we're playing week 1. We could play a powerhouse at week 1, on defense and on offense, and that could skew the start of what everybody thinks too. So, if we get a real easy game up front, that could also skew it too, because we could go in and blow somebody out and everybody's like, oh yeah, look what happened last year. Everybody was so excited because we beat the Patriots. Yeah, it was great. We won week 1, but there were still mistakes in that game. It was still not a pretty game. Trust me, I saw it in person. It still wasn't the best game we played all season. The best game we played all season, we didn't even win, was the game in Houston against the Texans. I think that was the best.
Yeah, that was a good game.
The entire season against the number 1 defense. Nobody expected us to play like that. Absolutely not. No. Even the Texans fans were shocked that, their defense let them down, but they still won the game. But they looked like crap that day. We had them. We had the chance to win that game, which nobody would have thought we were going to go to Houston and win. So again, week 1, we don't even know who we're going to play yet. So we don't know what we're even going to expect. We don't even know what this team really looks like physically until the start of the season. So right now on paper, yeah, we look great. Every team looks great on paper right now in the entire NFL, except for the Jets. They still look like dog crap, and the Browns, but everybody looks good right now because everybody thinks that they made the greatest roster move bringing in who they brought in. But when you really look at the big picture of everything and break it down, what some of these teams actually did, how much did they improve their team? Like, which is why I'm doing the whole winners and losers tonight. Like the step back teams. What teams do you think took a step back? And there's two that come to mind. Well, really, one is Baltimore. I think Baltimore took a huge step back, and then obviously so did Miami. Because of what Miami lost and all their players that are leaving there, plus their head coach. But I think the Ravens took a step back because number one, they lost Linderbaum. They had Max, then they don't have Max, and then instead they settle for Trey Hendrickson, who's definitely not the same type of player as Max, not even close. The footage I watched of Trey Hendricks and how he handled being blocked by a tight end, Max would never get blocked out of a rush by a tight end. It just won't happen. He's going to out-muscle that guy no matter what. And Hendricks is a hell of a lot bigger than Max. He just doesn't have the finesse. Max has more of a finesse, and he's got a little bit more, obviously more speed. But there's teams that took a major step back, and I think Baltimore is definitely one of them.
Well, like we were just talking about, man. By far, the biggest step back this offseason is the Lions because they have just been gutted. They have been cleaned out. So, I mean, they're going to have a completely different product on this field this year than they had last year, and it's going to be. And they weren't even that good last year.
What's up, Jason?
They don't. I don't think the Lions win more than 5 or 6 games next year, brother. That's what I think. So I would go with the Dolphins. They already suck, so it's hard to say how much of a step back they really took because they weren't good anyway.
No, last year they were horrible last year. What do they?
Yeah,
I know they got.
So what even is a step back for them?
Oh, they don't pick until number 11.
We have probably taken the biggest step forward. I mean, then that's. Well,
on paper, we're definitely one of the biggest winners this offseason. There's no choice about it. And I'm not even I'm taking my Raider hat off, and I'm just saying that as a fan of the NFL.
Yeah.
The Raiders definitely and I'm not the only one saying this. I mean, you've got, these so-called experts and everything that are saying it too. These guys that, live and breathe NFL football, that's all they do. That's their job. You've got a lot of people out there saying the same thing that, the Raiders have basically one of the teams that improved the most. If you had to power rank the offseason so far since the start of free agency to now, we're definitely number one based on what we did. Just on paper, increasing our team. Our linebacker room expanded tenfold as far as I'm concerned. We brought in athletic ballers to play in those positions. We brought in, one of the best centers in the league, the top free agent get this offseason in Linderbaum. We brought in traded for a cover guy, for a cornerback from Buffalo, gave up late round draft picks for a guy that's going to step in and be an immediate starter for us. So we made some good moves. We brought in a wide receiver that nobody even mentioned. And all of a sudden, boom, he shows up. It's like, wow, that came out of nowhere. And then you look at it, it's like, okay, this guy can be a really good contributor. And then we bring in a special teams guy that's only going to make us even better on the return side of things. So you look at that, and then that's not even taken in the full equation of anything else that we've done. Now you add Kwity Paye to that too. It's like, God damn, you finally gave Max a bona fide partner on the other side for him. There's going to be no more of this Tyree bullshit. I'm sorry. I think if Tyree makes this roster this year, or if we don't do something with him, like to ship him off, because I just don't see him being a factor with what we've done to bring in so far for players. And we haven't even gotten to the draft yet. And we haven't even gotten to the draft yet. You don't even know what we're going to do with that. What are we going to do with our second pick at 36? Are we going to go nose tackle? I think we should. I think we better. Unless for some reason, some crazy ass reason, a kid like Lemon falls as the wide receiver, one of these top wide receivers fall to 36. Okay, then maybe, that's different. And then that means now we're going to be looking at guys like Corleone as a nose tackle, or Big Citrus. You're not going to be getting the Hunter or the McDonald. you're gonna, if one of those wide receivers fall there, boom, you'd be crazy not to take him, because you know what? That's BPA. I'm sorry, even though it's not the position we really wanted to take at that point, but you can't let something like that slip by, you know. So it's going to be interesting.
Jeff, what's the highest number of points we scored last year? I don't think it's over 25.
29.
We scored. When did we do that?
29. I forget what game, but I know it was 29. I remember being 29 because I was pissed. I'm like, son of a bitch. Because I was keep picking 30 points every week, and we got to 29, and then we stalled. I'm like, son of a bitch. That's the only reason I know it was 29, because it was 1 point off.
I'm vaguely remembering that game. I just can't remember who we played.
I'd have to go back and look. I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head.
But the Chargers took a major step forward too, just on the Mike McDaniel hire. I mean, they already have a pretty good offensive thing going there, and Mike McDaniel is going to he's going to bring out the best in what they can do. So the Chargers are going to be a force. I mean, and they always are kind of a force who kind of collapses at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Mike McDaniel adds a whole lot of something extra that the Chargers haven't had in a long time. So I think the Chargers are another biggest winner. Who do you think is the biggest winner outside the Raiders? Like, who do you think's taking the best step forward?
I got to go with what Q said earlier, to be honest with you. I think the Panthers did a heck of a job so far. If I had to pick a winner right now, outside of us, because ultimately I still think it's us right now. And again, that's not being biased. I honestly think the Panthers. I honestly think the Panthers did. I think what's going to make or break them is how Lloyd is this year for them, for that defense. And again, the good thing about them is what they brought in and what division they're in is what helps them become even better, is because that's such a poor division. That NFC South is just so ripe for the picking. I mean, you saw how it ended last year. It came down to the last game, and the team that made the playoffs didn't even have to do anything. It came down to just the last game, and it was just silly.
Well, I think the Saints are going to be a force too, because they really came on in those last 5 or 6 games last season.
I don't think so.
I don't think they're going to be a Super Bowl thing, but I think they're going to be competitors in that division.
Yeah.
Their last 5 or 6 games were pretty good, and they really played like a really well-oiled machine, man. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the most interesting about this conversation, because nobody really knows if they
that's going on for 13 minutes. We're trying to keep the calls down to a certain point, so because I'm falling way behind in the chat.
Hey, I'll let you get to that, brother.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Call in tomorrow night. We'll be on. Jason and I will be on, and we could talk Raiders too. So,
all right, very cool.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in, though. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Jason says the Jets, Dolphins. What's up, Jason? I see you in here. Cardinals are in tank mode already. But see, the Jets, with what the Jets brought in, they brought in some veteran leadership, so that may help them change, because they are a young team. So we'll see what happens. Jets are looking to trade number 2 pick to move back and get more draft picks for next year. Wouldn't be a bad move for them. What's up, Frank? Let's see. I think Cincy's lost some too. We're not finished with this roster. Oh, definitely not. Baltimore about to get their karma this season. I hope so, but then I don't hope so. Because if they finish with a great draft pick for next year's draft, I'm going to be pissed, because it's like that could have been ours too. Son of a bitch. Let's see. Hope Hendrick can. I do too. But let's see. Why are you worried about the Lions so much? Aren't you a Cardinals fan? Who's a Cardinals fan? Oh, he's not a Cardinals fan. He's a Raiders fan, but he I guess he was up in Detroit for a while, but he just likes the Lions too, in a way. Let's see. Who else is here? I'm going to catch up to you guys. Like, Kyrie compete for the kicker. See, and this is funny because you mentioned that about Rodriguez. Prior to us bringing in the two linebackers, everybody's wanting us to take Rodriguez. That's fallen off now. You don't hear people clamoring for him. And I don't see us taking Rodriguez because that's not an immediate need anymore. We need a nose tackle. And nose tackle at 36 is not high. That's a perfect spot for it because one of those two guys is going to be there. There's a good chance Hunter and McDonald are going to make it to 36. And if one of those two are there, I don't care which one of those two it is, we take them. We have to. You want to fill out this defense the right way, especially that front. That's a beautiful way to go. Linebacker at 36, we don't need to take a linebacker at 36 right now. There's no need. Absolutely no need. We need that nose tackle. We need that zero technique guy. We need that guy that can eat up blocks. That's what we need. We don't have that right now. We got guys that we think can play that spot on this roster, but can they? We don't have anybody. I mean, I said it last night in the show. I watched someone else the other day, and they said it on a live show that, we got Kwity Paye. Let's put him at nose tackle. Are you crazy? Kwity Paye's not a nose tackle. He's going to get eaten alive in the middle. That's the dumbest statement I ever heard. I just put out a short for it. Go watch it. You'll see it. We talked about it on the show last night, Nate and I. It's just the most ridiculous take I've ever heard in my life. No, I don't want a tight end. Tyree is cheap labor at this point. Yeah, he could be tackling dummy. That's about all he's worth. I think that you might be talking about the Jacksonville game. I think we put up 20. Yeah, there was one game where I know we put 29 up because I was pissed. I'm like, I came that close to hitting my 30. Every week I was predicting 30 points. Didn't even come close, except for that one. Let's see. Jets improved getting Geno. Yeah. He couldn't have gone to a better team. I know Jets fans are freaking livid about it. They hate every minute of it. I hope there's a lot of, usually traditionally at the draft, there's a lot of Jets fans there and they're very vocal. I will while live go up to Jets fans and ask them for their true take on what they think about having Geno back. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait to ask them because I'm going to have fun with this. I can't wait to go, man. We're less than a month away. I cannot wait for Pittsburgh. This is going to be so much fun. Now let's pick a loser. Who is that is one of the things I was going to do is we're looking at winners and losers. So, and that was the banner I had up was right here. So let me ask you guys this: throw a team out there. What team do you think took the biggest step back in free agency? What team lost the most or didn't make smart free agency moves, and what they brought in kind of could possibly hurt them more than help them? So who do you guys in the chat think that specific team or a specific team took a step back? So, if you want to call in and say it, go for it. Phone number is 401-830-9189. Call in, drop who it is you think it is. Give me like about a minute of what you want to say about it, and then we'll move on to the next caller. That way if the phone lines get tied up, because I don't want people having to call and not be able to get through. Let's see. Jets locked in the 2027 first overall pick with Geno. Oh, pretty much. 30 minutes, got to cut them off. Freitas can move Max. We can get Derwin James. Because Dean gets injured. Yeah, but that's not a reason to grab a linebacker at 36, to be honest with you. Jeff, I'm telling you that new Raiders hoodie feels special when I wear it. Let's see. How can you not like a team that has been around forever and never sniffed a Super Bowl? What's up, Raider Knight? What's going on, man? Let's see. Leo says, we need everything. We still have 2 linebackers that we signed new to the team. We need BPA at 36. Can't stick to one position. Yeah, and at that point, that best available might be the nose tackle. That's just it. Jeff doesn't want Mendoza already. No, and now you're reading into it. Trust me, I'm not the only one that said it. The whole narrative of us taking Rodriguez was pushed until we grabbed Nakobe Dean and Walker. until we grabbed those two guys, everybody was, and I was on for Rodriguez. Now that we got those two, do we really have to go that direction? Again, we need that nose tackle. Let's see. Pegues is like 322. He's a 6th rounder too. So I get it. Go get a nose. Yeah, but here's the thing. He's never played that before. That's the whole point. You're going to bring in a guy that's actually played, 4 years at the college level in that position. And he's, these guys are complete beasts at that position. And that's what you need them. Can Pegues plug up the lanes and eat up double teams and blocks? I don't know. We don't know that. We know these other guys can already at the collegiate level. Let's see how it translates over into the NFL. I think they'll be fine. So Eric says the Pats lost or took the biggest step back. Q says the Chiefs. Leo says Baltimore. Yeah, you know what? I don't disagree with that. You think of what they lost. They lost their mainstay at center. They lost likely to the Giants. So he's gone. I think they lost a lot. I could go with that one. See, I don't think New England took a step back. If anything, I think they moved up, to be honest with you. Bringing in Romeo Doubs is huge for them. I think he's going to be a great addition for them, unfortunately. I hate every minute of it, and they still got a fairly early pick, so they could still do. They could end up taking a wide receiver out of this. They could take Nate Sky Lemon from USC. Who knows? I mean, because they're picking. What pick have they got? I thought they had an earlier pick. Oh, they don't. Never mind. My bad. I thought they had an earlier pick from leftover. All right, so they don't. So they pick in 31. All right, my bad. I take that back. I don't know what they're going to do then at 31. I mean, hey, they could take Rodriguez for all we know. Who knows? I don't know what their plan is. I don't even know what their needs are. Not that I really give a shit, but let me just click on it. Let's see what they're listing their needs at. Let's see. Let's restart this. Yeah. Pick is the idiot Pats. Let's see. What's their need? Their need is wide receiver, edge, linebacker. So let's see what's available when I get to them. So if they need a wide receiver, the top wide receiver that's left is Boston, Denzel Boston. When they get to pick number 31, he's still there. He's 37th ranked. So, I mean, that is a possibility, but we'll see. We are still slated to get a wide receiver at 36, either Concepcion, Denzel Boston, or Jermaine Bernard. I don't know. Cowboys took a step back, you're saying? Again, no one lost as much as the Lions this offseason, not even close. I hate the Patriots, you know that. It has to be the Pats. That's not even the right number. It's 867-309. It's 868. 401-830-9189. Ravens, Seahawks lost most in free agency. Seahawks did, you're right. They lose Walker. They lose what's his face? The guy we got, special teams guy. Who else did they lose, though? Who the fuck else did they lose? Had to be somebody on defense then that I'm not catching. Let's see. What's up, G-Fan? What's going on, my guy? Not taking a nose. Eric, you just like to disagree, so I get it. No matter what I say. Even if it's noontime and there's not a cloud in the sky and I say the sky's blue, you say, no, it's not, it's black. So, want to nose tackle Christian Miller out of Georgia. Yeah, I was looking him up last night. He's not bad either, actually. Jeff, you think Robbie will coach up our defense to be better. And that's just it. I think I talked about this the other night too. Is I think our biggest question mark on our coaching staff is going to be Leonard. To be honest with you, him being a first time defensive coordinator, with this whole influx of new players. I mean, think about it. He's got 2 new linebackers. He's got a new edge rusher in Kwity Paye. He was probably already planning on what he was going to do without Max. Then Max comes back. So does that make that a little bit easier for him? Yeah, because that gives him that veteran, that he's got a real good relationship with back on his team. So that might help him out a lot. Then you bring in the kid from Buffalo in the corner. So, I mean, there's a lot of new additions to this team, and then whatever we pull in the draft too. So, I mean, it's going to be curious to see how he is with this new set, and the fact that, we're running a 3-4 versus what we were running prior to that he was a part of for the last few years. So I'm curious to see how he does as a DC, his first stint as a defensive coordinator. I hope it goes great for him. I really do. It's only good things for us if he does, so I'm psyched for it. I'm excited to see what he can do with this. No, it's not Lennon, it's Lemon from USC. What's up, Raider Paul? You back? Let's see. Need to watch football. Lemon is a head case. Why didn't you come on in the show last night and say that to him? That's his USC boy. He knows exactly what Lemon is, and he absolutely loves him. We taking that kicker who kicked 70 yards. Hell yeah, man. Most athletic kicker I've ever seen in my life. So just because you don't want Lemon doesn't mean if he's there. I'll tell you right now, if we still had that 14th pick, I guarantee with us taking Mendoza, I would not have been surprised if we would have taken Lemon at number 14 if he was there. If he's there at 14, I would not be shocked if we would have taken him, because that would have given you your quarterback. It would have given you a wide receiver. We still have pick number 36. Then you add him with the increased offensive line. You add him with Genty in there, Brock Bowers, Naylor. You're talking about a completely different offense. I mean, Jesus Christ. Now we're talking something here. Now we're not talking about let's wait and see what happens. Now you're talking about, what are we doing? So if Lemon was there at 14, I would have not been shocked if we would have taken him at 14. Not at all. Absolutely not. I would absolutely be fine with it. Brown nose tackler. Frisco needed free agency, and in New York opinion, they didn't do squat. Again, it doesn't look like they brought in like super talented type players in New York, but what they ended up doing was they brought in that older leadership. Some teams needed that, and the Jets definitely needed their leadership. Did they do that with Geno? No. Absolutely not. I think that's where you lose them is bringing Geno back as your quarterback. I think that was the biggest, dumbest mistake that they made. But God bless you. Good luck. We'll see you during the season next year, and hopefully we can sack the living shit out of them. So that'll be fun. Let's see. Half their coaching staff. What facts have you thrown out there? What are you throwing out for facts? You haven't thrown out anything. You're just throwing out names and saying I don't like them. That's not facts. Jeff, I'll send you $1.99 if you jump onto the podium when they call Mendoza's name. I mean, you better send me more than that, because I'm going to have to get my ass bailed out of jail if I were. It wouldn't work. Let's see. You wanted us to move back. We aren't. So now you switch to go get. I have been on that kick since it's nothing new, Eric. You haven't been watching the shows. I've been calling for a nose tackle for the last few weeks, so it's nothing new. And yeah, I'm still on the want to trade back. Why wouldn't I? I still think that's the best move we make in this draft, to be honest with you. I just don't think we need to take the quarterback at number one. We're pigeonholed to take that number one pick as the quarterback because we don't have one. And he's rated the number one quarterback, but he's not number one overall talent. I'm sorry. That's not value with the number one pick. Not at all. Absolutely not. when you could trade that back and really get value for the number one pick and bring in players that could be part of the, be plug and play where they show up and we're starting them right away, whether it's on defense or offense or whatever. There's no sure thing that Mendoza's going to start. And if he doesn't, now what? Now that means we're going into the season with AOC 12 only, because right now that's it. That's all we have in this roster is him. We've got nothing. So I don't get what anybody's missing out of this. Well, Eric's missing, I guess. But, I've been saying nose tackle for a while. Everybody else is too. So it's not like it's just me saying this. It's a major need of ours right now. Jeff, what do you think about playing? Yeah, I think he'd be perfect at nose tackle. Yeah, where he belongs. Just like we should draft every single Indiana player too. That's smart move. Let's grab Mendoza. Let's grab Surratt. Let's grab Koopa. Get Cleon Black later on, and definitely going to get Coogan. We need another center. So let's make it as comfortable as possible for Mendoza. That's another brainiac move too. It drives me nuts. Some people's takes are just out of this world. When they draft Mendoza, Jeff will throw eggs on the stage now. No, I told you. I'm not questioning, and everybody says this all the time. I'm not questioning his ability to play the game. I'm just questioning why take him when there's other options that we can do to build this roster. I'm not questioning his ability to play. I support him 100% if he's the pick. I want him to succeed, because if he doesn't succeed, the team doesn't succeed. So of course I want him to do well. I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, I hope he sucks for us." No, because I want to get past this shitty stuff. I want to get into the pot where, we're using commitment to excellence, just win, baby, and, all the other sayings that we used to have with the, within Raider Nation that we just confidently couldn't say anymore because we were none of that. Even now, we're still not committed to excellence. We're still not just win, baby. We're none of that right now, So, yeah, I support him if we draft him. Why wouldn't I? That's the stupidest thing any Raider fan can. Do I think it's the right move? No. Will I support him? Yes. I'm all for it if we draft him. If that's the move, that's the move. Well, why do you say Lemon's a cancer? You're saying this because of what you saw him in that video. That's what you're basing this on. Where is he a cancer? What has he done in USC? What has he done outside of in his personal life that makes you question anything? Do you even know? I mean, come on. What's the issue? I don't get it. How do you think he's going to be a problem for us? I don't get that. What are your basis for saying that? That's the thing. You gotta come out with something more than just saying he's going to be a problem or he's a cancer. What proof do you have? What did he do? What has he done? Because of the way he talked? The way he acted, and I said the same thing, but then I got put straight by Nate and Leo that's just the way these kids are out there. That's the way they talk. That's how they behave. That's his demeanor. Okay. All right. I get it. Thank you. You set me straight on it. Now I understand, So, yeah. Cootie Pay. That's a great one though. Jeff, we still have 16 in petty cash for your bail. We have to use it in the company for a 1098. See, and then when I push something back on you, you get all pissy. No, he's a great move. It'll be perfect. See, you can't win with you. Who would you draft at number 1? Jeff Orlovsky? Yeah. Lone is good. Need to get past his reason he's talked about. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Leo knows. Leo knows about him. Jeff and Nate's plan starts AOC, pass on Mendoza next year, take the bump from Ole Miss. Talk about negative. See, Eric is the guy with the blinders on that just sees one thing. He looks down the tunnel and sees one thing, and I want that. Instead of looking around going, "Ooh, we could have that. Oh, we could possibly have that over there too." But yep, that's still an option too, what we were just looking at. But that's another option. Shit, I didn't even think about that one. So if we do this, we can get that over there and we can get that up on that shelf too. Ooh, or we just go straight ahead and take that and then we just hope for the best. But we could get two that could play off each other and really help do what we want to do, but yet no, I want that. I want that. I want that. That's the mentality of some fans. I'm sorry. That's just, and it's not just our team. It's other teams too that are the same way. Fans of other teams do the same thing. Just watch other chats, watch other shows. Fans are the same way. Watch some of the shorts that people put out from other teams. It's the same shit. You know, people think the same way in every team's fan base. It's silly. It's like, just look around, open your eyes. You know, don't have to always settle for that one thing, you know? Drives me nuts. Tyree Wilson has a nose tackle and White push. I'm fucking Ray tonight. Oh, what's up? What's up, Lucky? What's going on, man? Exactly. How is he a cancer? Yeah, that's what I mean. See? It's kind of a fire-breathing offense. If Spy doesn't take Mendoza, he's going to lose half the fan base. Impatience to see his plan through. Correct. Oh, like you have Bruce Mendoza isn't worth the number one pick. I've already told you why. I'm done with you, Eric. I'm not going to go back and forth all night. It's just ridiculous. Oh, now you're going to resort to swearing? Hey, I've offered you before to come on here, you know, and then I'll get a text from you tomorrow saying, I'm sorry. What's up, 805? Oh, 805, yeah, here just in time. Let's see. Rosehound, I just want to see Jeff get fuck you, Jason. Oh, I'm not that high on lemon either, but I wish the best for that young zesty man. Oh my god. All right. 805, my guy, what's up? Yeah, everybody in the chat that doesn't like someone that doesn't want Mendoza. 805's here, so we'll stop bashing him. Let's go. Give him shit. Fuckers. Stop yelling at him. He's right here. See, look, 805 is right here. He's here. He's in the chat. He's in the chat. Get him. Get him. Get him. People really be pissed. Raiders about the draft. Well, that's just it. If for some reason, and I spent an hour on the phone with Jason a little while ago, a couple hours ago, and I even said to him, I said, if for whatever reason, if we don't take Mendoza, I said, Raider Nation is going to lose their goddamn ever living mind if we don't take him. If we actually trade back, mental institutions are going to fill up with Raider fans because they're going to lose their goddamn minds. You know, and I said to him, I said, I'm going to be there when it happens, and I hope there's a bunch of Raider fans around. I said, because you're going to see you're going to see two totally different sides of the spectrum if that would have happened. If they come up to the podium, there's been a trade, the Raiders have traded, you're going to see me, Chris, Severe, 805, all like high-fiving and hugging each other and happy, and then you're going to see other fans from Raider Nation throwing shit, yelling and screaming, probably jumping up on the stage because some of them are fucking crazy. So it's going to be absolutely hilarious if that would have happened. But they will lose their mind. My God. GFAM, even with all the moves we made in free agency, you still don't think Mendoza should be the number one pick? No, I don't think he's a number one. He's not a true number one. That's how I look at it. And it just so happens that we get the number one this year, and it couldn't be the worst time to have the number one pick and be in need of a quarterback that we're pigeonholed and have to take a guy that's not even the consensus number one overall pick, not the best player available. You know, usually your number one goes for the best player available. You take that gem, you know, that lineage style player, that guy that's it. You can't look at him and go, he's it. That's the guy. I'm sorry. I just don't see that either. So again, I'm not doubting him, but I'm just saying he's not a number one overall when you can move it back and do so much more and really help the team because it's all about the future, building this team for the future. And if it means we're going to wait another year for a quarterback, then it means we got to wait another year. or we do something different. I don't know. You tell me what the different is. I don't get it. See, yep. Eric's all upset now. I already got a text from him saying "fuck me." He said "fuck you." So he's upset. Yep. See, 805's right here. It's Jason, who's 805. Tyrod Taylor might be out back QB. And that's the other thing that's shocking is that we still haven't even. I mean, there's been nothing floating around lately about bringing somebody in. You know, I mean, it's slim pickings now. What are you going to bring in for a veteran if you bring one in? You know, what's the goal? Does it mean that we draft Mendoza and then we take another quarterback later on? That's probably what's going to end up happening. We're going to have to. You can't go into the season with a rookie in just AOC 12. But then again, we go into the season with 2 rookies in AOC 12. What the fuck? You know, if AOC is going to slate right now on paper to be the starter going into the season, you know, and if Mendoza is good enough in training camp and preseason and takes over that spot, then okay, then it's his job and all the power, you know, all the luck in the world to him. And let's hope we can move on and win some games with him. But then AOC's your backup, and you still need to have that third guy. So yeah, it's probably going to be a rookie as a third player, a third quarterback. You know, I really don't care who we get at QB. I'm just looking forward to who we get in the draft. It's true. Oh yeah, nobody block him. Please don't block him. He's fine. He'll get over it. I'm not worried about it. Where was I here? Let's see. I do whatever I want. He's segment of Rated Nation that thinks only of their emotions. Heard of 805 guy has the same age as Dan. What a joke. No, don't. He's actually, well, I don't know about after tonight, but he is actually a personal friend. He's actually one of my chapter members, so do not kick him. If a moderator kicks him, I will take away your mods. Seriously, there's no need. He's just having a bad night. He's unhappy. Who's the best player available to you? Just curious. If we're talking just pure athletic, TBA, BPA overall, in all honesty, I honestly think that Jeremiah Love would be the number 1 pick. I just think I think he's better than Genty. Another one that could be in that position, and I know it's an odd one to say because of the position he plays, but Caleb Downs. I mean, there's another one. I don't even know. And 805 says it the best too, and Leo said it too. Is it just doesn't feel like there's a true number 1 out of this draft, is what he's been saying. And I kind of, now that I'm looking more at it, I kind of get where he's coming from. At first, I was like, what do you mean there's no true number 1? But then when you look at it in the the overall ranking of the talent and such, is there really a true overall number 1? I mean, if you look at like the consensus type thing and all these analysts and shit, all of them have Mendoza number 1 only because we're picking number 1. There's a few teams that if they were picking number 1, Mendoza would be the number 1 pick because they need a quarterback. If they weren't picking number 1, it wouldn't be Mendoza. He's not that. He's not that. I'm sorry, but he's not generational. I don't think so. Not at all. I don't see that. That's for sure. Yeah, don't use Gulag on there. That's wasted thing. Don't steal that from him. And I see Leo just said it too. Jeremiah Love is the best player, but we don't need it. We don't. If we did, I would take him over Genty any day, to be honest with you. And I like Genty. I like what we got with him now. I wasn't crazy about it last year, but we'll see. Just like the movie Draft Day, about to watch Ravens do what the Browns did Draft Day, right? That would be awesome. Let's see. 805 is like the heel and wrestling that you cheer for, right? Yeah, I don't care. I don't care what people think if I don't like or if I don't want him as number one. I just don't. I just don't. I don't care if people like it or not. It's not going to hurt my feelings if you don't. If you don't like my take, whatever. There's other shows out there. I'm not forcing anybody to stay here and watch. But if you do want to stay here, I got memberships. They start at 99 cents. So if you want to become a member of the 401 401 crew, it's only 99 cents to start. So, but so if you want to be here, you're here. I don't force anybody to. Nobody forces you to watch the shows. I like doing what I'm doing. I enjoy this. I have fun. To an extent, obviously. So Jason says, to be honest, there is no true number one. Love is BPA, correct. Styles and Reese are interchangeable based on needs, so I don't see a true number one. This draft is just mixed. See, so even Jason, who's on the Mendoza kick, doesn't even think Mendoza is actually a true number one. And he said it to me on the phone, so if he disputes it, he's full of shit. Because that's one thing we both agreed on. I said, at least agree with me that he's not, you don't think he's the overall number one pick. And he says, no, he's not. Everyone's one Mendoza. So trying to find it. I have no idea what that even means, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. Why do you think, who do you think might want to trade for the first? Steelers, Jets? I mean, who I think or who I would want? I want anybody. I would want to trade with anyone that's got at least 2 picks in the first round, because that's what it's going to take for us to want to move off of that. I want 2 picks in this year's first, plus their first next year to give up this pick. So if it's the Jets, that's the 1 and 16. I mean the 2 and 16, and their first next year, perfect. Because I know that first next year is probably going to be a top 3 pick. I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. Because if we end up grabbing a quarterback later in this draft and he works out, then guess what? We don't have to worry about taking a quarterback next year. And if a team that wants to move up and take a quarterback, guess what? Hey, come see us, because we're not going to take one of these quarterbacks. You guys can have this pick for the right price, and you can get your quarterback, and we'll take a boatload of picks from you, and we'll really fill out this fucking roster. See, this is what I'm getting at. If you look at the big picture, what you can do next year to really solidify this team going forward, a mix of what you can do this year and next year. Everybody's just so stuck on making that one move, and that's what I'm fighting for. It just drives me crazy how you got to look for the future for what you can pull out of this. It's not just what you're going to do this year. It's what you can pull in next year too. So if you grab one of these other guys later in this draft that work out, whether it's Ty Simpson, whether it's Aller, whether it's anybody in this draft, whether it's somebody we trade for, before the draft, that pulls in and actually plays well enough where, like, shit, this guy's phenomenal. We're going to stick with him. So comes next year, because we get the Jets first and our own first, and we don't need one of those quarterbacks. Guess what? You're going to have a team that's going to really want a quarterback that's not going to be in the mix, that can get in the mix and give up a shit ton. And you can get a lot for it. Or, like, you can get a lot better players to help you fill up the gaps. Whether it's on defense, you're going to have to start worrying again. 2 positions you're going to have to think about coming up really, really soon. Another future edge rusher, because Max ain't going to be around forever, whether he gets traded this year or he's gone when his contract ends. So we got 2 years left with him. And we got 2 years left with Colton Miller. So you got to worry about filling in a left tackle and another edge rusher. And you can't roll the dice and hope that you're going to get one in the 4th round. You're going to have to at some point make that move and grab that top edge guy. And if that's the case next year, then that's the case next year. I have no idea what's coming out for defense next year, so don't even get into that. But there's so much more that you can do and really just expand your options with what you can bring into this team to bolster this roster for years to come. And that's what I'm trying to pull out of this. It's going to be an interesting club meeting. Let's see. But to answer your question, I'm willing. If I'm the Raiders and I'm the GM, I want to trade with anybody that's going to give me at least 2 first rounders this year, and plus obviously next year's first rounder. What does Arizona have? Do they have? You only have one first rounder, right? Cleveland's got 2, so Cleveland's another possibility. The Jets have 2. I don't think anybody else does. Arizona doesn't have 2, but they've got the number 3 pick, and they got the second pick in the second round. So, having that second pick in the second round is almost as good as still picking in the first, to be honest with you. So no. I don't trust any of you guys right now. 2 different types of Raider fans, Mendoza lovers and Mendoza haters soon to be turned. Oh no, please don't take my wrench. Let's see. Don't do that to anybody. What's up, Share Bear? Bruno, you can cut the Raider tension with a butter knife. You think we should have drafted Malik Willis? I think we should draft Malik Willis and draft Val Reese. I'm not opposed to Reese. What's up, Tanner Jack? Yeah, I hate Mendoza. Yeah, I don't like him. That's how it's going to turn out to be from this. People are going to be like, he's such an asshole. He doesn't like Mendoza. Well, it's not what I said. It's not even close to what I said. Come on. All right, there we go. So I'm totally off now from everything I wanted to do. So let's do this before we get out of here. What, other than the Raiders, because I know most of you guys in here are Raiders fans, what do you think is the surprise team to kind of watch this rest of this offseason going forward? And that includes like the draft. Like who do you think could really surprise in the NFL going into the draft and going into the new season? Who would you come up with as a possible surprise team? Let's see. I gotta go back here in the draft. In the draft. Oh my god. Let's see. Right. I'm sold on this kid. I don't want some freak QB who can jump over buildings. I want a QB that has his head. Yeah. Jeff with the serious lineup tonight. Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I'm having fun with this. What's up, Raider Pete? What's going on, man? How you doing, brother? What would have been at 14 pick if Ravens didn't back out? I mean, there's a chance. I said it earlier, but I got yelled at by one of the chat guys. There's a chance that Lemon could have still been there, and that if we're taking Mendoza at number 1 because we got the trade from Baltimore, if Mekhi Lemon was there, I could see us taking him. I know Nate would be ecstatic if that was the case. He'd be happy as a pig in shit, because that's his guy. He's USC all the way, and I mean the kid's rated right around that spot, around the 14 area. So would that be a great move? I wouldn't be against it. I think that would be awesome. Tanner, that is his strength. He's definitely not making those circus plays. He does bring stability and intelligence. Jeff, who you think is better prospect, Reese or Moage? I don't know, man. That Moage is tough to pass up on. I based on our needs, I'd rather have Moage. That's who. If I had the chance to take him, I would take him. Definitely, out of those two. And I'm only saying it because I don't know how much Reese would even get on the field with what we're going to have right now. If Max wasn't here, Reese would definitely be a great fit. But I think with Max still here and with Quiddy Pay and everything, it could end up being crowded because don't forget you still got you got Snowden, you got Kuntz coming back, you still got Tyree's fat ass floating around in there some way too. How well he gets used, I don't know this year. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see. I just gotta skip all the way to the end. They're dreaming of that 14th pick, right? Let's see. Jets, after we trade back, get 2027 first. They make a Super Bowl run, and now we have the 15th and 32nd pick. Would you swap picks with the Cardinals and get Marvin Williams Jr.? They're not going to give him up. You mean Harrison? They won't give him up. Somebody said something about that the other day in one of the call-ins, I think it was. They said that that the Cardinals were. Well, how did he word it? It was on the phone. It was somebody on the phone that said it. It was on. I can't remember if it was Friday night or Saturday night. About them either cutting Marvin Harrison or looking to trade him. I'm like, they're not going to get rid of Marvin Harrison Jr. He's only been with them for like 2 years. He hasn't had a steady enough QB to even really get the right maturity level down. I can't see them walking away from him that soon. But Pat McAfee says Mendoza is good. Oh God, Pat McAfee, the former punter, guy. Yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah, he's a shock guy. He's like Howard Stern when Howard Stern used to be a shock jock before he went all mushy. He does it for the attention. Pat McAfee, whatever. What is the guy not involved in? I told you the other night. I said he's like the what do you call it? He's like the current version of like Ryan Seacrest. He's involved in everything. He does college football games. You see him with NFL sometimes. He's doing wrestling. He's got his podcast. He's freaking everywhere. When do you not see or hear of Pat McAfee? Good God, it's worse than Ryan Seacrest, and I can't stand Ryan Seacrest. Jesus Christ. Dan got exposed by his teammate this morning. Well, you know what? And to be fair, the whole thing when he was on with Pat McAfee, like Jay showed it on Wednesday night's Raider Connection. Pat McAfee just did not even let Orlovsky talk. I mean, the guy didn't even get a chance to like try and even defend himself. I'm not sticking up for Orlovsky, but I'm just saying if you're going to bring somebody on and you're going to dispute what they're saying, give them a chance to say their piece. Don't just keep cutting them off every time you start saying something. And of course, you're going to make them look like an idiot, but not for nothing. I think you look like a bigger idiot by the way you kept cutting them off. That's just horrible. That's not a way to do it. You're going to bring somebody on with the intent that you're going to, debate them on something. Give them a chance to debate. Don't just shut them down the second they start talking. That's not a debate. That's just you berating the guy. That's all that is, and trying to make a fool of him. That was absolutely ridiculous. We are all Raider fan, and at the end of the day, whether you like Mendoza or not, and when Mendoza starts balling out in silver and black, we will all be rooting. Of course we will. Paz Rogers. Yeah, he is, right? Hey, what's up, Ben? What's going on, man? How you doing? Jeff, you're going to love Coach GB. He went off on McAfee. I think McAfee's a goof. Some of his stuff he does on the show, yeah, it's pretty cool. Like some of the people he gets to interview and everything. I don't watch him religiously. But, I mean, again, like I'm not going to bring somebody on the debate on my show and just start talking over them and not give them a chance to talk. That's not how you do it. You hurt your credibility. Like in my opinion, Pat McAfee's credibility just went out the goddamn window for all I give a shit. He treated it like a wrestling promo. That's what it looked like to me. No different than what you see when you're watching, these guys doing the promos in the back when they start talking and then, someone else starts talking and they just start screaming and talking over them. Let's see. If we don't draft Mendoza, you and Dan Orlovsky should collab on a stream. Yeah, great. And I get that too, because a lot of people he's just a former backup quarterback. And I mean, he still played the position at a higher level. None of us have. None of us in here have ever played in the NFL. None of us. Not a single one in this chat or anybody that's been in the chat or in the show tonight at all has ever played in the NFL. So how much can we really talk about a position in the NFL without physically playing at that level? Okay. He at least played in that level. Yeah, he wasn't the best at it, but he still played that position in that level. So I would take what he says sometimes about players. I would take a little bit more from him than say, I don't know, someone else that does a podcast that's never played professional football, barely even played college or high school football, talking about, playing, the intricacies of how to play the defense from a safety standpoint. Did you ever play that position? No. Well, What, just from watching film or talking about it or reading? That doesn't make you an expert on it like that. You doing it and playing at that level adds a whole different level to it. Like, you don't see me, like, I stay in my lane. My lane is, I'll talk trenches, I'll talk offensive line, I'll talk a little bit of the defensive line. Once you start getting into the pass, from the linebackers back on the defense, you're losing me, because I don't know that side of the ball. I never played defense really, so I don't know that side of the ball. So I'm not an authority on that. So I'm not going to talk on that. I'm going to talk on run blocking, pass blocking, playing the center position, playing left tackle, playing guard. I'll talk on that all day long because I physically did it. I did it at a high school level and I did it in semi-pro football. So I have some experience. I can back up what I did. I'm not going to start talking about quarterbacks as far as, like, when we get into the debates about Mendoza. I don't question his ability because I don't know enough about playing that position. I never played quarterback other than, backyard lot ball shit, just picking, getting picked last because you're the biggest kid and you're not just a play. I never played quarterback. So when you start talking about, their reads and everything, I have to go by what somebody that's played the position or has done enough to, to actually talk on it. You're on No Huddle. State your name and the team you're at.
G-Fan and Big Bad Raiders, baby.
Hey, what's up, G-Fan? What's going on, brother?
How you doing, brother?
Good. I'm in a good mood.
Just calling in for a quick question. I won't take long because I know other people may call in. My thing, we do take Mendoza at 1, and a player like Boston, a wide receiver who could potentially be a number 1, falls into the 2nd, and we also have the option of that nose tackle, McDonald or Lee Hunter. What would be the better move, or the wiser move, for us long term, because we made so many moves on defense in free agency. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we kind of lack a really good, big number 1 receiver. Thornton hasn't played out how everybody thought. We all thought he was, or hoping he would. That's my question. I hope you and the family, your wife, and everybody's in good health. Love you guys. God bless. Keep hustling, and I'll keep talking shit in the chat because we family.
No, I get what you're saying about the wide receiver, man. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it, G-Fam. You're the man.
I'll be in the chat to hear the answer, brother. I'm gonna hang up, and then I want to hear it in the chat back.
I'm still. I mean, again, if a wide receiver that's too good to pass up, now you're in a conundrum at that point. I think that's my take on number 36. Which is why I don't want to trade away number 36, because I saw another take on another show where somebody said, "Oh, we should trade away the number 36." Well, wait a minute. If you're trading away the 36, it better be to move up to get back in the first round, coupled with a third rounder possibly to move back into the end of the first round. We better not be giving. I don't want to be giving away the 36 pick to move further in the back to accumulate, an extra third or fourth rounder. I want to stick with that 36, and you take the best that's available. And if it's a wide receiver that's best available, and say Hunter's already gone, and it comes down between a bona fide guy that could be the number 1 wide receiver for us and McDonald, now you're in a conundrum. Now you got to figure out which one we're going to go with. Me personally, I still would go with the defensive tackle. I'm sorry. I know Eric, when he was in the chat, he kept pushing for Rodriguez. I just don't think that's our need right now. A linebacker. We can get one a little bit later that that can work out. Hopefully, that's my take at the 36. If one of those receivers are there, and again, one of those defensive tackles, that's going to be like a in the moment decision. I honestly don't know. I really don't. That's such a tough spot to be in. If one of those guys is there, if both defensive tackles are gone, then by all means, then take the wide receiver, obviously. And then that we just have to hope that we can get somebody like a Corleone or Big Citrus, because all those Collins will be gone, McDonald will be gone, Hunter would be gone, all those mainstays at that nose tackle position are going to be gone. We're going to have to wait till the third round to hopefully get one of the other ones if they're still there too. So we'll see. It says, I'll take Chase Daniels' opinion. He does podcasts. He played professional football. He never have favorites. He supports any QB of this draft from their weakness and toughness. There is no conundrum if Boston is that you take him. Yeah, I get that too. I'm with you, Jeff. I'd rather have a yeah, exactly. Your backup QBs know the game well. They just couldn't apply it to the field. That's why there's a good amount of coaches in the NFL college that are considered good coaches but never started. And like I said, that's why I would take someone's take from a standpoint of, like in this case, Orlovsky. Now, I'm not saying he was right in what he said. Okay, just stop with that first. I'll start with that. I'm just saying if he's going to start talking intricacies in a quarterback, I may take what he says a little bit more serious than someone that's never even played the position, or in some cases never even played football, but they're considered an expert and an analyst. How much did everybody like Brian Greasy? And supposedly, I don't know if anybody saw this, but supposedly, I don't know how true it is, but he's working with Mendoza to learn the system that Kubiak's going to use. I don't know how true that is. I did see it today. I don't know if that's 100%, if it's bullshit or not, but that's who's working with him right now on the side. How well was he when he was in the NFL? He wasn't that great either. He was just another one of those guys that worked off his name. Even his dad wasn't that much of a superstar, to be honest with you. Crease having trouble re-signing Juju Smith-Schuster. If we sign him, he could solidify our receiver room. Wide receivers are still a luxury pick for us at the moment. Still too many holes to fill. Let's see. And we're at the end. No problem, man. I appreciate you calling in. So, all right. So just to remind everybody, I'm going to kind of start ready to head out of here. Just remember tomorrow night, myself and Jason on Raider Nation Voices, we talk strictly Raiders. I mean, we didn't start off that way tonight, but it's kind of culminated into talking about the Raiders, which I guess it's all right. I'm not a problem with it. The phone line is closed now. It is still open for voicemail, so if anybody wants to call in between now and when we go live tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern, by all means, call, leave a voicemail. We'll play it at the start of the show. Later, Jarretta. So we start at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. Myself and Raider Nation, myself and Jason, Raiders First Downs. If you haven't already, make sure you get over to his channel, hit that sub, hit the notifications. The link, we'll have everything up and running by tomorrow afternoon. I'll have the studio set up, but we will be on tomorrow. We're talking strictly Raiders tomorrow night, and we'll get into it. We'll have some more fun. We'll see if Eric comes back tomorrow night. But like I said, he already sent me a text saying "fuck you." So, whatever, it is what it is. He'll call off. He'll come around. He knows I still love him. Let's see what he's gonna go punch and yell at Eric. Nah, I'm good. I'm not stressed. Trust me, I'm not stressed, dude. I am so easygoing. It's even funny. I mean, you would have to do a lot to really get me pissed off. Just don't get me pissed off. You get me pissed off, then Papa Bear is gonna be not happy. So let's see if we go D2 second pick. We might as well go defense the whole draft. It would be beautiful though. Muddy Chuck, I just closed them down. I just closed it down. Between the Stallions and the Kings tonight. Who the hell is that? Oh, that's right. It was the UFL is open now. Money Chuck, I was just signing off. I've been on for just over 2 hours. Ash nerve. Yeah, come tomorrow night, Money Chuck. We'll be on, myself and Jason. So 10 o'clock. So make sure you guys, if you got any questions or anything you want to bring up, hit us up tomorrow night, man. We'll be on. And again, if you want to leave a voicemail, go for it. Yeah, that's what it was, G-Fam. That's exactly it. I didn't know if it was 100% true, if it's a BS statement or what. So nothing like good old UFL action. Coach is watching his UFL. 805, you still in here? See, Coach is watching the UFL. Start getting ready to start doing film breakdown for him. Let's go. We'll start doing UFL podcasts. We got to pick a team. Coach, who do you follow in that team? Who's in that league? Who's your favorite team? And where are they from? I don't even know any of the teams in that league. I haven't watched a second of that. I definitely watch more XFL than anything in the past other than NFL. XFL was fun. Just wish it would have lasted. I just want to see your coach's favorite team is, and then we'll get out of here. I don't even know what cities they're in. Oh, I can't follow any team. That's impossible. Coach was focusing on Tommyami. He's down here. He's down there sharpening his skills. The Raiders send him down there. Mendoza's team hired Greasy to help off-season training. Word is to learn Kubiak's system and the verbiage. Yeah, because I saw that. It was an Instagram thing, and then I read the chats, and I saw somebody ask, does he work for the team? And I'm like, I didn't respond to it, but I'm like, I don't think so. And then somebody else says, no, he's just doing it on his own. What pissed you off? Is he still on Team Iceberg? I think so. Tommy Tommyami. See, I just watched the games to fulfill my football love. NFL annoys me outside the Raiders. Which is why you don't see Coach on this show too much in the chat on Friday nights, because we talk other teams in the NFL. And he comes in and he's like, fuck the other teams. Which is fine. I don't care. I'll get you tomorrow night, Coach. You can come in. You'll be in tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's Raiders talk on the phones and in the chat. So we'll have fun tomorrow night. Jason and I always have fun on Saturday nights. It's always a good show. This has been great tonight. This really has. I'm happy with everything that happened tonight. It was fun. So he doesn't work for the. All right, yeah, he doesn't. Then all right, that answered that question. I didn't think he could, because I mean that would kind of does that break some sort of rule or something if that was the case, to be honest with you? I mean, it's not like we can't send him the playbook ahead of time or anything like that. I mean, that's kind of that'd be kind of sus, right? Seriously. But, all right, everybody, I'm out of here. Thanks for being here tonight. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Tampering. Fuck, what's tampering? If Baltimore can get away with their shenanigans, fuck, we should be able to get away with whatever we want now after that, after they fucked us over. But anyway, so thanks everybody for being here tonight. Thank you for those that did call in. Thanks for the moderators for being here tonight and helping keep the chat clean and everything. I appreciate you all. And don't forget, tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, myself and Jason Downs. Same phone number, 401-830-9189. And hope to see you guys call in tomorrow night. I see you in the chat. So until then, stay safe. Go Raiders.